Guilt is a heavy thing. It doesn't just sit quietly in your chest. It festers, growing louder and more suffocating with time. For years, I've carried this burden, this gnawing ache over something I can never take back. It wasn't just betrayal, it was exploitation. I used someone who trusted me completely, someone who believed in me without question. Tonight, I want to confess what happened, the decision, the consequences, and the endless nights spent replaying every detail in my head. Because silence hasn't healed me, it's only made the wound deeper. Maybe sharing my story will help me finally let go, or at least forgive myself for what I did. We were inseparable, two souls who fit together like pieces of a puzzle. She understood me in ways no one else did, and I thought I understood her too. We shared secrets, dreams, and countless moments of joy. To me, our friendship felt unbreakable, like nothing could ever come between us. But looking back now, I realize how blind I was to the cracks forming beneath the surface. I assumed she knew how much she meant to me, that my actions would always speak louder than words. I couldn't have been more wrong. The temptation came unexpectedly, an opportunity too good to pass up. At the time, I convinced myself it wasn't malicious. I told myself I deserved it, that I needed it more than she did. She had entrusted me with access to sensitive information, believing I would use it responsibly. But when the chance arose to advance my career at her expense, I hesitated only briefly. Fear of missing out, greed, and insecurity clouded my judgment. Instead of walking away, I justified my actions, telling myself it was just business. Looking back now, I see the truth. I betrayed not just her trust, but also the values I once held dear. The actual act of betrayal felt surreal, like I was watching myself from outside my body. Handing over those documents felt wrong, even as I told myself it was necessary. Every fiber of my being screamed to stop, to walk away, to preserve the friendship I valued so deeply. But fear took over, whispering lies that made the choice seem easier. She'll never find out, I told myself. This is just a means to an end. Yet, even as I walked away from that meeting, guilt began to creep in. The weight of what I'd done settled heavily on my shoulders, and I knew there was no turning back. Afterward, denial became my shield. She'll understand, I assured myself. It's not like I meant to hurt her. But deep down, I knew better. Every time I picked up my phone to call or text her, I hesitated, unsure of what to say. How do you apologize for something you're still benefiting from? So I waited, convincing myself that time would heal the wound I'd created. Instead, silence only made it worse. Days turned into weeks, and the distance between us grew wider with each passing moment. By the time I realized the damage I'd done, it felt too late to fix. Watching her discover the truth was excruciating. She confronted me in front of colleagues, her voice shaking with disbelief and hurt. Each accusation sliced through me, exposing my selfishness and deceit. I wanted to explain, to justify my actions, but the words caught in my throat. Seeing the pain in her eyes crushed me, but I couldn't deny what I'd done. The trust we'd built over years crumbled in an instant, replaced by anger, disappointment, and betrayal. As she walked away, I realized I'd lost not just a friend, but a part of myself. Facing the consequences forced me to confront the depth of my betrayal. Therapy became my safe space, a place where I could unpack the layers of guilt and shame that consumed me. At first, I resisted opening up, ashamed of how far I'd fallen, but eventually the dam broke. I admitted everything. The greed, the rationalizations, the pain I caused both of us. Saying the words out loud was excruciating, like ripping off a bandage, covering a festering wound. Yet, it was also freeing. For the first time, I acknowledged my responsibility, not just for hurting her, but for perpetuating my own suffering through silence. Writing that apology felt like opening a wound I'd kept bandaged for years. Each word poured onto the page carried a piece of my soul, apologies, confessions, regrets. I wanted her to know how deeply I regretted my actions, how much I wished I could undo the damage. Yet even as I wrote, doubt crept in. Would she even read it? Would she care? Or would she dismiss it as too little, too late? Still, I needed to try. Keeping these words bottled up inside me was killing me slowly. Finishing the letter didn't bring relief, not immediately, but it gave me a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, I could begin to heal. Through this journey, I've learned that accountability isn't weakness, it's strength. Admitting you've made a mistake, that you let ambition override integrity, that takes courage. Slowly, I began to rebuild my sense of self-worth, learning to trust not just others, but also myself. The journey wasn't easy. It was messy, painful, and often exhausting, but it was worth it. For the first time in years, I felt whole again. Losing her taught me the value of honesty, humility, and redemption. These lessons may have come too late to save our friendship, but they've shaped the person I am today. Today feels different, not because everything has changed, but because I've started seeing things differently. Betraying someone's trust taught me more than just the importance of honesty. It showed me how fragile relationships can be. For so long, I feared facing the consequences of my actions. But now, standing here on this rooftop, watching the city wake up, I realize that accountability isn't about erasing the past. It's about learning from it. Life is messy, unpredictable, and often painful, but it's also beautiful when lived with integrity. Thank you for listening to my story.